Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. I always like to kick the show off with something interesting. And in the courtroom, there's this guy in New Jersey by the name of Judge Gary Wilcox, and he does deliver justice. But on TikTok, he is actually making sexy lip-syncing videos. Yeah, he sings songs in his judge chambers, and sometimes he lays half-naked in bed in his judge robes. He's made about 40 of these, so it's not just like a one-hit wonder. But you might want to know where all this is going. All the fun seems to be ending for Judge Wilcox. Yeah, he's under investigation for posting content that's inappropriate, and they say brings shame to the legal system. Now, some people are saying, yeah, he's just an egotistical type of guy. Naturally, the judge is appealing. Oh, and on that happy note, hey, get ready to kick up your tech savviness as every aspect of our world just intertwines with tech nowadays. And to those joining us for the first time, a really warm welcome to all of you. We're thrilled to have you aboard. And to our loyal listeners, a hearty welcome back, because after all, I'm Kim Commando, America's digital goddess, here with you once again. And it's the biggest show. It's the most trusted show about all things digital. And you can find my award-winning show on about 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free, over at the website, commando.com. In the upper right-hand corner on the homepage, there's a yellow button that says Commando Community, and that's where you can check it all out. And yes, I said commercial-free. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members serving in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. Alrighty, every single day I go to at least 30 different websites to make sure that we're both up to date on everything that's happening in the tech universe. And here are the top 5 things you need to know about tech that's happening right now. And you may not have heard this stunning July 4th news over all the fireworks and travel, but both big tech and the White House have been stopped in their tracks in their censorship of free speech. You have to hear this. During the height of COVID, thousands of online comments expressing opinions against taking or doubting the COVID vaccine and mask mandates were labeled as disinformation and censored from Twitter, Facebook, and all the other social media platforms. So a federal judge ruled that when the White House contacted the big social media companies and asked them to remove all opinions against masks and the vaccines, it was obviously a clear violation of your First Amendment rights, guaranteeing you the right to speak out, regardless of which side that you were on. And the courts have ordered that the White House can have no further contact with social media companies. Yes, this was actually announced on July 4th, a national holiday. Moving on to number 2, there has been this massive data breach. Over 200 major companies, big players, they've had their sensitive data stolen and leaked right into the dark web. And guess what? The list just keeps growing. You see, there's this file transfer program called MOVEit. It's kind of like a business version of Dropbox. It's used by just a ton of companies and government organizations to share sensitive data and docs securely. But guess what? Yeah, the Russia-linked Clop ransomware group, they found a flaw in MOVEit that lets them steal all the transfer docs and data and then hold up all that information for ransom. And if those businesses and organizations don't pony up, guess what? Yeah, all that sensitive data just gets leaked right into the dark web. So TechCrunch says the hack has impacted about 3.5 million Oregon driver's license holders. The info's for sale on the dark web. 6 million Louisiana residents have had their Social Security numbers leaked. Some 770,000 members of the California Public Employees Retirement System, yeah, their info's out there too. The FBI has slapped a massive $10 million reward for the CLOP members. But you have to just think, what happened and why is this going on? And is your data part of the breach? Probably so. So make sure that you watch your credit reports, your credit cards, watch out for phishing scams, that whole list. Number 3 on our list, let's go to Palm Springs. Wow, this is a crazy story. That's where Brian Christopher plays the slots at the casino. And let me tell you, he's just a loser. He lost over $300,000 last year playing slots. So does he have a gambling problem? No. This is actually an innovative way to make money. Brian actually makes money on his losses through YouTube and Facebook. That's where he live streams playing the slots to hundreds of thousands of people. The Wall Street Journal says that through his live streams, he's able to employ 10 people. He sells shirts and business partnerships. He pays his staff. He makes some money, even after losing $300,000 a year. Okay, not a bad gig, right? He's not alone. Loads of people just tune in to watch YouTube streamers lose money on the slots. And you're thinking, why would anybody want to do this? Well, people like to see which machines play, and maybe they're just recovering gambling addicts, non-gamblers. They're using these videos to get their fix. Who would have ever thought playing slots, losing $300,000 a year, you're actually making money? Moving on to number 4. Wow, you really need to pay attention to this one. Too many emails, too many phone calls, too many messages from patients. Doctors at the University of California, San Francisco Health say that they get 900,000 emails a year. Wow. So the solution? You better pay up. Docs are starting to charge for emails, texts, and other communications from patients. Want a refill? It's going to cost you. Wondering if your prescription is really the right one? That's going to cost you. Wondering if maybe you've taken a turn to the worst? That's going to cost you. Johns Hopkins is starting out, and patients with private insurance are going to have to cough up anywhere between $10 to $50 just to send a message. The Cleveland Clinic has already slapped private insurance holders a fee of $33 to $50 just to send a message. So before you start emailing your doc, you might want to ask him or her, hey, is this going to cost me? Are you going to charge me? What's going on? And finally, this coming in at number 5. Wow, a 14-year-old car. What? Yes. Vespa, folks, Fiat is actually banking on you, and Gen Zers looking for a deal. It has a new car from Fiat. It's called the Topolino. It's a tiny electric vehicle, 8.3 feet long, and reaches 28 miles per hour. Now, remember I said 14. I really should have said drivers as young as 14 years old can legally drive this car in Italy. They're calling it a quadcycle because it's like a bicycle, but it has 4 wheels. Now, I'm not sure when it's going to hit the United States, but it could start a growing trend towards smaller vehicles here in the States. Now, if you've ever been to Europe, you know that those cars are so much smaller than the big honkers we drive here in the United States. The average car in Europe is only 14.7 feet long. The F-150, 21 feet. So these little cars from Fiat, they're actually selling them for 14-year-olds because they say that they're safer than scooters, which means they're going to be here in the United States. Would you let your 14-year-old drive in a little tiny electric car? I don't know. I don't even think I'd let a 14-year-old on one of those big honker electric bikes. I see them all over California. But you know what Fiat stands for, right? You know what it stands for? Fix it again, Tony. Yes. All right, coming up. Oh, I have so much that I want to share with you. I'm so excited. I hope we can just squeeze it all in. We've got 8 ways that your phone is tracking you and that you can stop right now. I have a tech travel tip you're going to use time and time again. And if you're taking care of the kids or the grandkids over the summer, I have some fun games that you're going to want to share with them that will keep them actually interested in what you're doing and not want to go on their device. And then, of course, we have all of your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy or too busy to come on a big-time radio show and podcast, I get that. You can drop me your question the easy and fun way. I know it's a little old school. It's through the website. Head over to commando.com, but in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. And while you're there, there's also a link that says free newsletters. You see, every single day to 400,000 folks, we are sending out the best newsletters in the entire universe. That's right. They're just packed with all the latest information, security alerts, and people just love them, and you will too. You can sign up right now by going to commando.com and hitting that button that says free newsletters. Or if you want, let me give you the address. You can go to commando.com/subscribe. That's commando.com/subscribe. When I read about the story, I just knew that you guys and gals would actually want to know more about it. I mean, how did this happen? It's a crazy story. Well, let me back up just a little bit. Little did 21-year-old Amber Baran know that when she went out to get her mail, it would take this terrifying turn when she found herself held at gunpoint. Could you imagine? Well, what happened to her next? After a threat to get her into her house, the gunman asked her to add him, oh my gosh, to her Facebook friends list. Oh, so Amber's going to tell us more about what happened. And thanks for being here. So walk us through. How did this all occur?
I work a night shift. I get off very late, around 4 a.m. I walked up to my house. I only had enough time to feed my animals. Then I went out to check my mail. And there was already a man walking up to my house as I was walking out. And as I ran into him, he's asked me, "Do you live here?" And I said, "Yeah, can I help you?" And that is when he pulled a gun out of his pocket and said, "Well, I was going to bust into your place, but you can just give me your keys right now."
Oh, gosh. Man.
My first thought was, I do not want this man in my house.
Right? No, thank you.
Definitely not.
So
I understood very quickly what he wanted. And I said, "You know what? I don't have anything in my house. Trust me. We can go to my car. I make cash tips I can give you that I got from tonight." And he said, "Okay, let's go to your car." So I proceeded to go into my car, pull out my tips for the night, and I gave him about $100 because I thought that would satiate him and get him to leave.
That was really smart of you not to let him in the house like that.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard stories about robberies leading to animals being stolen or hurt, and I really care about my animals, so I didn't want him anywhere near them.
Mm-hmm. Or worse, you get hurt, right? I mean,
right. I think I was very lucky that he did not put his hands on me. That was honestly my first thought when I saw him outside my house. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what if this man grabs me or tries to hurt me? Who knows what's going through his head?" So
you give him the $100, and then what happens?
While he still has his gun pointed at me, he asks me if I have a boyfriend. I'm confused, but I say, "Yeah." Then he asks me, "Well, does he treat you right?"
Oh, no.
As if he's treating me any better right now.
Yeah.
But
so the guy who was holding a gun to your head, right? And you just give him $100, he's like hitting on you.
Yeah, it was really strange. And then he said, "Well, I'll pay you back. You should add me on Facebook." And I said, "Okay." So I pulled out my phone in front of him and he showed me which one his profile was. I added him as a friend and then he left on a bike. I just made sure that he was gone around the corner, and then I immediately drove over to my boyfriend's house to tell him what happened. I was shaking, crying at this point just because
I'm sure
that's a scary experience,
frightening.
I didn't
Terrifying.
really have to process that in my head,
So did you get messages from him afterwards on Facebook?
Yeah. So that morning, it would have been the same day. That morning, he messaged me saying, "Hey, I'm going to pay you back because you were just too pretty to rob." And I'm thinking, he's not going to pay me back. I don't expect him to follow through on that. And as long as he's not going to come back to hurt me, I'm not going to be mean to him, which I feel I'm a little ashamed that I did text him back, but I had told my mother at that point, and she said, "Well, you don't want to be mean to him because he knows where you live," which was very scary to me. I think that being robbed in my own home was a lot more frightening than maybe being robbed at work or in a parking lot somewhere.
Well, sure, because Amber, your home is supposed to be where you're always safe, right?
Exactly.
Somebody violated that. And now you don't know if when you go home, if you're going to be safe anymore. I mean, that's a natural reaction to this.
Right. And I was just very jolted by this experience. And it took me almost that whole month up until the news story came out to really regain my sense of safety at home.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you called the police.
Yeah. So I actually did not go straight to the police at first. I went straight to my boyfriend's house and he told him what happened. And he said, "Look, the first thing you need to do is file a police report." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. I don't think I was thinking very clearly at that point." So he did help me call an officer over to take my report. And I worked with a detective from there.
So were they able to find this guy and arrest him?
Yes, thankfully, he had given me his real name on his Facebook, his real account. And when I handed those messages over to the police when they got here, and they said, "Oh, yeah, we know this guy. He's got a couple other pending charges." So we're going to see what we can do about this. But he wasn't arrested immediately, which did put me on edge until he was.
Wow. So you learned some really valuable lessons through this, right?
Yeah, I think especially because I'm not somebody who owns real weapons or anything. I just kind of put my faith in God that he will protect me. But this experience it was so out of the ordinary for me. I never expected something like this to happen. And I think I am very lucky that I had that encounter and did not get physically hurt.
100%.
So,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, because it definitely could have turned a whole completely different direction. And so now I hope that, when you do come home at 4 a.m, that you're not alone, right?
Right. And I have since moved.
Good.
So
that's good.
That is helping my peace come back to me.
Well, I'm sure that the incident has obviously changed you, and rightfully so. I mean, it should. If it didn't, then we'd be looking at you going, Amber, what's wrong with you, right? I mean, it's a terrifying experience. But I appreciate you coming on and telling your story, because I really wanted to know more about how you were able to get yourself out of this situation and not get hurt. And you definitely shared all that. And Amber, thank you for being here. It can be really frightening navigating your way home alone. And that's why, as a parent, you're probably worried about your kids' safety, and maybe you're worried about your own safety. So there are these safety-focused apps that provide the tools and resources to keep you safe if you ever find yourself in a dangerous situation. Like, for starters, there's KiteString. It works a little differently than some of the other safety apps out there. You sign up for a KiteString app, and then it gives you access to a texting service that checks in when you tell it to. Now, if you don't actually check in when it sends you that message, that's when your emergency contacts will be notified. The next app is called OneScream. It's a little different. It uses technology to listen to a true panic scream, and if somebody screams, it sends a text message and an automated call with your exact location to your emergency contacts. And finally, there's Be Safe. This is where you can tap the SOS button to send an alarm straight to your emergency contacts with your location. And then audio and video will be automatically recorded and sent straight to them. It also has a Follow Me feature where your contacts can watch your progress on your walk home via GPS tracking, as well as a fake call and alarm features to deter these potential attackers. And again, it's called Be Safe. I think out of all of them, I look at KiteString and Be Safe. If you need links to those, we have them over at the website. And stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls that you don't want to miss coming up. All right, coming up in just a few seconds, 8 ways that your phone is tracking you that you can stop right now. And then later on, a tech travel tip that you're going to use just time and time again. And before we get to all that, it's summertime, right? The kids are out of school, and then they're shipped off to hang with some aunts and uncles or grandma or grandpa. And so what's the game plan to keep them busy? Well, here's an idea. You can whip out your phone and get gaming. Now, you don't need a super fancy gaming system to keep the little ones entertained. All you need is that smartphone of yours. And here are some games that you might want to check out. Number 1, Toca Life World. You and your grandkids can get creative. You build your own universe. You create all these fairy tales with it. It's a lot of fun. Number 2, Minecraft. Yeah, they're probably already on it already. And it's not just for the big kids either. In Minecraft's creative mode, you can set up a team and you can start building these structures and landscapes. And it's just a heck of a lot of fun. And 3, Heads Up. It's a great pick. It's a guessing game where one person slaps the phone on their forehead with a word showing and the rest give clues. Now, I guarantee you that if you bring any of these out with your grandkids, they're going to be like, oh, gosh, Granny, you are just the best. And if you need links to all of these, we have them over at the website. That's commando.com. All right, back to the phones we go with Peter in San Jose.
Hey, Kim, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome.
Thank you. I have a kind of a photography-based question with a little bit of a backstory that I can kind of quickly go through. I'm a Bay Area photographer with landscape nature interests. I do some people sessions in there, too.
Okay.
I've been a hobbyist for about 30 years. And about a year ago, I was encouraged to create a Facebook and Instagram pages to showcase some of this stuff.
Awesome.
And it's slowly, gaining traction. I add lots of good quality content daily, interact with all of my audience comments, try to personalize it as best I can. But I'm ready or curious of what does it take to get to that level of critical mass where shares start to grow the page exponentially with, legitimate interested audience members.
Right. Instead of just some spam that you might be getting along the way.
Exactly.
The easiest way, but it's also the hardest way, is to get somebody who already is an influencer to repost some of your photos.
Okay.
I mean, that's a slam dunk. Barring that you maybe cannot get Kim Kardashian, okay, to post one of your photos, which I'll tell you, I was just looking at them. You are very talented. What kind of gear do you use?
Thank you so much. I'm from the camp of become fluent with what little gear that you have. I'm doing a lot of this with a Canon 80D, a kit lens, and I've got an aftermarket, pretty decent telephoto lens that I use too.
Wow.
I don't shy away from my phone on occasion. I mean, I think the composition is much more important than, the gear that anybody uses. I get asked that all the time. What kind of camera should I buy?
Right.
I don't think it's that important, really.
Well, and a lot of it is if you have an eye for it, too. I mean, can you do this or you can't do this? I mean, you could give somebody the best fit out there, but if they can't see it, then the camera's not going to see it either. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Exactly. And use, post-processing software use it very sparingly. I'm kind of a less is more kind of guy, but.
All right. So let's talk about Instagram and Facebook. And have you tried to boost the posts?
Oh, I have. In fact, I've spent, in 2018, I spent close to $700 on Facebook.
It doesn't really work. It doesn't.
It doesn't,
No.
And I found that out the hard way. And,
the only thing that might work is if you did Facebook advertising, and if you targeted women between say 45 and 55 who have a kid graduating from high school, and they live in the Bay Area, and then you're going to offer them a smoking deal on a portrait session,
Yep.
So you can target advertising. That's one of the benefits of Facebook, by the way, is that you can target down to that specific in the minutia detail. You could even say if you want that, if you want that woman to be working in high tech or not. Okay, if she has 4 kids or 2 kids, so you can go down really into a lot of detail. So if you're going to do anything on Facebook or Instagram, because now it's they're owned by the same company, is to really look at doing more targeted advertising instead of just boosting the post, because you don't really know who's actually going to see it and if they have an inclination to actually react to any type of offer that you may be out there. I mean, with Instagram, the beautiful thing is that you are just a perfect match in heaven because you have these beautiful photos, and Instagram is all about photos. So, maybe some ideas to make your page stand out as you do like a weekly theme. Maybe this week it's all black and white. Maybe the next week it's all pictures that have anything with the color orange in it. The next week, anything that relates to the space. So, and people have a tendency to follow those because if they are into space, they're going to make sure that they don't want to miss your next photo that may come out the next day. So instead of being randomized, see if you could focus and see if that would, no pun intended, see if that might also generate some interest. Stories are good. You already know about tagging, and I'm sure you know about geotagging. I don't know if you've ever thought about going live on Facebook.
The thought actually crossed my mind. I just didn't know if I was prepared for something like that. I didn't want to stumble all over the place with a live video.
Well, you know what? You could show a live video of something that's taking place in your area, whether it's an event, a news, whatever it could be. I can tell right now, and looking at your photos and just speaking with you as briefly as we have, that you're passionate, you're bright, but most importantly, you're articulate. And you're a communicator.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
And as a communicator, if you did a Facebook Live about here are 5 things you need to know before you shoot your July 4th fireworks photos, you might get a following.
Wow.
And so where they
great point.
Where it becomes event tied. You could also do a contest. Contests are pretty big too. People love to win stuff, where maybe you're going to give away up to $150, $200 on a portrait session for somebody who's graduating school, class. Maybe they're graduating kindergarten, right? Okay. Maybe
Excellent.
8th grade, maybe high school, maybe graduation, whatever it may be. And so, it's a multi-tiered approach to getting as many followers as possible. And Peter, give me a call back when you start gaining some momentum, and let's take it to the next level here on The Kim Komando Show. Anytime we talk about boosting visits to a website and engagement, we start off with SEO, right? That's website optimization, search engine optimization. But you want to also think outside the box a little bit. Promotional offers, these are fabulous during slower periods, or if you just want to attract new clients, you're going to offer 10% off, buy one, get one free, one of those things. Another idea is to start doing collaborations. You want to partner with local businesses. So, for example, a local frame shop, they might want to display your work in exchange for you referring clients to them. Now, you can also share your knowledge and skills through workshops, and this can generate additional revenue and also raise your profile. I'm talking about setting up your very own YouTube channel where you're going to maybe just show a few of your secrets and then say, hey, for a booking, you can get 10% off by using this promo code. And don't forget that it's always okay to sell yourself in these free YouTube videos. Now, target marketing, this is something that you want to think, but you also have to do some math, meaning that you need to know how much a current customer is worth to you before you go out and buy ads to attract those customers. I'm talking about getting targeted ads on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Google. That's where you can identify your ideal clients and then tailor your marketing efforts to attract them. And also, I just want you to diversify yourself. You want to offer a whole range of photography services, not just portraits, but maybe you want to do events, you want to do products, and especially real estate photography. That's really a booming industry. So think of all that, and then you're going to have your whole business all set to go. And don't forget, if you ever need any help, hey, I am the consummate entrepreneur. I really am. I started this business from scratch. We're not part of any big network. We aren't. I mean, it's called The Kim Komando Show. We are on the Westar Network, and I own the Westar Network. Okay, so if you ever need help with your small business, just feel free to tap into it. All right, your phone's tracking you. You know that. That's how your GPS works. Find My sees your location. That's why when you're out and about, you get local ads on Facebook or Google. It's all part of the idea that we're going to maybe serve you better. But you don't have to stand for this kind of data collection. Let's talk about the way that your phone is tracking you and how you can stop it. Number one, you can tweak your phone's location settings. These are called frequent locations. It keeps track of where you are and how long you stay there. It even knows where you live and work based on how long you are there and how long you visit. Now, if you find this unsettling, you can turn it off. We have all the instructions on the website. You can also limit ad tracking. Thankfully, iOS and Android provide built-in options to minimize and limit this ad tracking. Now, it's not going to totally stop the companies from tracking you, but it will kind of maybe bring it down a few notches. You can also stop Google from tracking your every move. You're going to turn off your web and app activities. Now, you can also use a different browser on your phone that maybe you're not getting tracked. You can use Chrome's incognito mode and stop Google from remembering your web activity. iPhone users, you can use the default Safari browser and access a private window for stealth browsing. You can also check your online accounts. Like both Microsoft and Google have dashboards for privacy controls. You can opt out of all the ads through the Digital Advertising Alliance. This is really something a lot of people don't want you to know about, but we've got the links to it. Now, to check all this out and to get all the steps that you need, head over to our website. That's komando.com. And up there on the page, there's a link that says Show Pics. And that's where you find everything that I talked about right this very moment, but all written out for you so you can follow along. Hey, if you're not already following me on social media, I am at Kim Komando everywhere. That's right. For more personal stuff, Instagram.com/Kim Komando. For tips, tricks, and things like that, head over to Facebook.com/Kim Komando, Twitter.com/Kim Komando, and you get the drill. All right, Tammy in Pueblo, Colorado.
So I have a question. I have some text messages that I would like to move from my phone, my cell phone, to my computer. And I've looked at multiple apps, but which one do you trust to use for this? Because I'd like to have them in PDF form. Okay.
Are these legal text messages?
Yes. Will be used for legal purposes, yes.
Right. Okay. All right, good, because I want to make sure that they retain the date and the timestamp. And if you just take screenshots, number one, that's a major pain in the neck, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. and then you're like, okay, well, I don't have the date and the time here, so how do I make sure that it's there? What kind of phone are you using, Tammy?
Currently, I'm on an Android. It's a Samsung Galaxy A02s.
All right, that's good. That's all good. Because it's Android, Samsung, there are a lot of different apps that will help you back up your text messages. But I think the one that I recommend is really the best one. Normally, I like to give 2 or 3 and say, hey, you can try them all and you can pick. But I don't think that's really necessary right here. It's called SMS Backup and Restore.
Okay.
And once again, that's SMS Backup and Restore. And what it does, and the reason why I like it, is that it creates a local backup right on your PC as well. It has the messages. It also has call logs if you want that. And you can also do it manually, but if you don't want to do that, if you're going to keep using the phone, you can schedule like recurring backups. So you're not sitting there trying to remember, oh gosh, crap, I better back up those text messages right now. And then you can save the whole thing up into the cloud if you want. And so if you think that somebody may be, looking at your stuff, maybe wanting to delete the PDF file or whatever it may be, I don't know what your circumstances are, is that it makes it really easy to make sure that you have a copy of it, especially if it's for legal purposes, safely stored up in the cloud. It can also restore messages from existing backups. It also includes group messages. You know what I mean? So you see what I'm saying. It does everything. The pictures, the music, the videos, if somebody were to have included that. And again, it's called SMS Backup and Restore. We'll put a link to this over inside the Commando community. What that means is that if you go to commando.com/community, that's where I post links to programs because, I hate for you guys and gals to really Google search anything because when you Google search it, I never know where you're going to end up. And then you're going to say, I download the wrong thing, and then I got some malware. And so again, if you go to commando.com/community. Now, if you're sitting there on iPhone saying, hey, Kim, Smarty Pants, I'd like to know how to do that too, but use it for my iPhone. Of course, you have iCloud, which really works so well. But if you don't want to use iCloud, or if you don't use iCloud and you want something different, iExplorer is a texting app that really does a terrific job too. Once again, that's iExplorer. And you'll find links to that as well. I'll post that inside the Commando community. And in case you're wondering, hey, what exactly is the Commando community? It's a way that you can help us support our program. And you support our program and allows us to continue to give you these great things like the free guides and inside the message board. But you also get to watch the show when we do it on Friday. So you get some early access to the show. And you can watch the show and listen to the show before anybody else does, as well as you can get as a podcast, commercial-free, and a webcast. So it's all this bundle when you become a Commando community member. And you can sign up right now. And you get a 30-day free trial, by the way, over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. We've got discounts for seniors and military and service personnel as well. But you can learn all about it over at getkim.com. Hey, don't forget, you can also forward important text messages to your email. And you also want to be able to save multimedia separately. So as you start looking at saving your text messages, you might want to also make sure that those options are checked in the settings. Just a little quick tip for you there. It's bound to happen. You're out there traveling and boom, there's a dead zone, no internet, no data. What am I going to do? So here's what you need to do. It's a snazzy trick that will save you a bunch of headaches. You want to take some quick screenshots. And so this way you have all your details available offline. So you're going to screenshot your flight details, say the airline, the flight number, and the crucial, departure and arrival times. And now it's all on your phone, no Wi-Fi needed. Now, the same thing goes for your hotel reservations. I want you to be sure that you get a screenshot of the hotel name, the address, the check-in dates. Also, if you can get those confirmation numbers on both the airline tickets and the hotel reservations, that's always the best way to make sure that you're prepared if anything goes sideways. You have everything that you need just ready to go. Now, if you're planning to ride the bus or take the train or walk around, that's where you can also screenshot your routes and also save all these maps offline. So this way you have everything on you, on your person, without an internet connection. And I got a bizarre email this morning. It was about maps. Turns out it was just spam. Oh, yes, see that? Hey, tell 3 friends about the show, and you can find me always 24/7 at commando.com.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.